Charter Oak Federal Credit Union announces Gold Rewards with no ATM fees, special gold rates, an annual cash bonus, and much more. Just go to any branch or hitch your wagon to charteroak.org.
What are you hoping for through these court proceedings?
Some form of justice. I think we're leaving it up to the judicial system to decide what that should be and how much it should be. For which,
nothing really secret. I mean, the individuals involved need to be held accountable. We'd like to see them removed as a threat to society, and it's up to the court system to determine what the options are there. But and people need to understand that if they didn't already, that behavior has consequences.
As painful as hard as this is, it's part of what we feel we need to eventually come to peace and rest with everything. We'll know all the details. We'll deal with what we have to deal with the grief. I can't say closure because there's no closure. Matt's gone and will never come back to us. This is the first we've been able to really consider looking at the medical records. It was kind of a thing I guess I needed to know. I don't know if I need more than you. Being a medical person, I understand the terminology more. And as a mother, I needed to know for how long was Matt in pain and fear, and at what point was he unconscious, to the point where at least I know that he wasn't suffering anymore. And that, as a mother, is something I needed to know. I think that's the part that's haunted me the most, is the time period between the time he realized these kids weren't just asking him for a light or whatever, they were, to the point where he was unconscious. I guess I needed to know that, what was going on, because that's what was happening to my baby, my son.
Now, are you ready to face the families of these defendants? I have a feeling we'll have a packed courtroom tomorrow.
It's probably true, and there is a piece of me that has empathy for the families. In all likelihood, they are going to lose children also, not under the same circumstances, clearly. You know, the environments these kids were in were varied.
From what we understand.
From what we understand, some not unlike Matthew. So.
Mm-hmm. And I guess our feeling, my feeling is that as parents, as family, you need to give the one you love your support. And there was something I read that I'm quoting from another mother's statement, and that was that the family needs to be there to support the one they love, as justice is handed out to them in whatever means it has to be. You still love your son or your family member, but it's not condoning that what they did is right. It's saying that we'll be there for you as you have to deal with whatever it is that's handed to you. What you did is wrong. I don't know that that's how all these family members feel, but so I'm not unsympathetic to the families being there, and not quite certain about all the friends that are there, because but again, this is immaturity.
My next question.
This is the immaturity, though, and you have to recognize.
At 17, the world looks different.
Yes, and so we understand that.
Thanksgiving was exceptionally hard because at that time
I think it was the first holiday.
The accused had not been apprehended, and we were thinking that things had really gone on.
They were getting to have Thanksgiving.
Yeah, the vision of them having Thanksgiving dinner with their families was tough, And of course, as you would expect, Christmas was very difficult also. You're right.
I think up through the holidays, I think we'd have to say that I know I wasn't sleeping well, and one day I recognized that Matt was on my mind every hour of every day for those first couple months. I mean, and it was probably
Sounds
more.
trite, but that's exactly what it was.
It was probably more than once an hour, but it was at least it was definitely every hour, and probably more. Either I'd look at his picture, or we'd talk about him, or we'd think about him, and by the end of the day, you were exhausted, but you couldn't close your eyes without seeing him, and so that was very hard. After the holidays, we went for the first couple of weeks where it seemed like, I remember recognizing, hey, I got through 2 hours, and I actually wasn't thinking, not that I was happy, but wasn't thinking about Matt. And then we were back here last month, and I'd have to say we're back to the every hour, very more frequently. So that's kind of what our lives have been like.
The crime itself is very frightening, but there's also something about him, I think, that's causing this reaction,
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully you take
He
some
was
comfort
he was
in
a
that.
good person. Like I said, I think that the fact that Matt was just a good person. He wasn't he struggled to make ends meet and all that, but
Sure,
he was a young adult struggling to be on his own. But genuinely, he was just a good person. And people saw that, and people who knew him, people that came in touch with him. The bank teller today at the bank, when we were there, she had mentioned, he'd come in, and there was a patron at a restaurant that stopped us last time. Who stopped in to say to his, I guess it was initially in November, I guess, when we were here, and just stopped to say to us, I didn't know him well, but he just always had a smile. He always had a kind thing to say. And
we've actually taken on a new identity as Matthew Chew's parent. So that's how we're known now.
Yeah.
What he was able to accomplish as a young adult here in New London, both on the work side and on the artistic side, were pieces that we didn't have a lot of direct contact with. So we were absolutely amazed at the number of people that he touched. His name on the guard marquee, totally overwhelming. And the number of people that came to the service, totally overwhelming. Like I say, that's a piece that we didn't really have that direct contact with, so it was new to us and comforting.
I think we recognize Matt as this sensitive, caring young man, had always been, and just realized how many lives he was able to touch with that side of him, that caring side of him.
And that's kind of been the balance we've been trying to strike, because we of course have spent a lot of time thinking about what won't be in Matthew's future, and the opportunities that have been taken away for everyone that knew him. But the other side of the coin is that he'd made quite a mark, we think, in New London, and we were so encouraged by that. And that ran the gamut from people in the art community to people in the work environment, people at the dry cleaners, people at the flower shop, just, everybody. As you say, New London, it was very sensitized to his assault, and I'm hoping that they'll be able to get something done to improve the area.
Did you have any trepidation about him living in New London, or was it the natural thing for a 20-something to do?
Well, it was near where he enjoyed the DJ piece. I think the LNG, the Oasis, those were kinds of magnets for him. And Hannafin's was very much an enjoyable thing. He took me there to dinner once, and had been active in their dart team and knew the staff. So yeah, he was comfortable in New London, and for that reason, we didn't have any reason to believe that there was any more of a threat than anywhere else. I don't think.
But, I knew that New London had some crime problems and stuff. So I mean, yes, I think it's any parent thinking of a child living in the middle of downtown of any kind of major, more major. This wasn't Hartford. This was, but I knew that there was crime down here. So I think, yeah, I mean, for me, there was a little bit of sense of, be careful, and it wasn't like living in Ledyard, So there was a little bit of trepidation, at least initially. I think we got more comfortable with it as he was here, and knowing about that he made friends and the places he was friendly with around here and stuff. You kind of forgot about that little.
He was having the time of his life.
He was having the time of his life, but it wasn't real. I mean, he was busy making ends meet. His work was important. He had a responsibility for his work and what he did. We were just talking about the fact that when, with any job Matt had, he took a pride in what he did, doing his best, and working hard at it. He was not somebody who called in absence, and if somebody else called in, he worked extra hours just to, fill in to be there. So
in many ways, I think we felt that this period in New London represented a time where he actually got some traction as an adult, and it looked like he was on his way to making it. The day after we lost Matt, we went down to the corner and we walked up the street to Two Wives, just because we felt we kind of needed to do
where
that.
He had walked the last.
And then that same day, we had gone down to Bean and Leaf, which was a favorite hangout of his, and had gone to walk up by Hannafin's, and saw the marquee on the Guard Theater, and it said, "Remember Matthew," and it's like, that can't be, and then, no, it is the Matthew that we were talking about, and we actually talked with the staff there at the Guard and thanked them for the effort. One of them, I guess, had been a close friend of Matthew's. And again, that was a very visible indicator of the community involvement, but certainly not the only indicator. The owner of Hannafin's sought me out, talked to me. We had over 400 people at the reception, including the mayor, chief of police. So.
But one of the things you might tell her is that the owner of Hannafin's came up to Rick when they had a picture of Matthew on their dartboard where Matt played darts there, and he came up to Rick and said, "You're Matt's parents." And I said, "Yes, father." And he says, he shook Rick's hand, said, "Every time Matthew came in, he always came back to find me, first off, before he went back to play darts, to shake my hand and say, 'How are you doing, Dermot?'" And that, he says every time Matt came in, he didn't just go straight back to the back to play the darts and do he came to find me, sought me out first to shake my hand, ask how I was doing. And so again, it was another indication of the fine man that Matt had become.